So you've decided to get a crested gecko. It's a great choice. They make fantastic pet reptiles, but how do you choose your gecko? Where do you get it from? And what do you need to prepare for your gecko? Stick around and find out. Welcome to part 3 of our Crested Gecko Care series, How to Get a Crested Gecko. In this video, we're going to be covering things to consider when choosing your gecko, how to choose where to purchase your gecko, how to vet your sellers, and how to set up a quarantine enclosure for when they first arrive, as well as some common situations to be aware of with your new gecko. If you want to know the care needs of your new gecko or want to see an enclosure assembled, check out our previous 2 videos in the series. So let's get started with what to consider when choosing your gecko. One of the first things you may consider is if you have a specific appearance you would like for your gecko to have. Crested geckos have many different traits that interact with each other in a ton of different expressions. Some traits are more common and typically come with a lower price tag, like tigers, harlequins, dalmatians, and pinstripes. These traits have different degrees of expression that can alter the price. Rarer traits will have less availability and will typically be a bit pricier, like lily whites, sables, cappuccinos, pixels, and azanthics. Many traits can be combined, and these combos are typically more expensive. Choosing the appearance for your new gecko will come down to your preference and your budget. And if you intend to breed, it's a good idea to learn the traits and the lineage of your gecko and plan out your pairing intentionally, but we'll cover that in a future video. New keepers, we're curious to know what traits are you interested in learning about? Let us know in the comments. The age of your gecko is an important thing to consider as well. Juveniles tend to be more fearful and flighty, and their appearance may change as they grow. But watching your gecko grow into adulthood can be very rewarding. Adults tend to be more placid, better for handling, and they don't change their appearance. Next, consider whether you'd prefer a male or a female crested gecko. Their sex doesn't determine their appearance or their general behavior. However, there are some minor care differences between the two. Generally speaking, adult females have better longevity when their diet supports healthy egg development regardless of breeding. Males don't typically have any special needs, so no worries there. Overall, there are a few differences between males and females, and the choice comes down to your preference. Ultimately, the health and condition of your gecko should be the most important factor when deciding to care for a new gecko. It's important to look for issues when you receive your gecko and before purchasing to help assess the gecko, vet the breeder, and avoid any post-purchase issues. Look for deformities, injuries, and signs of malnourishment. Here are some issues for you to look out for. Curved or uneven spines, wavy or kinked tails, underbites, overbites, curved noses or long heads, enlarged eyes, uneven eyes or eye discoloration, scars, missing digits or tail tips, or looking underweight or overweight. And not all these issues will impact the gecko's health or long-term success, but some may, depending on the location and severity. You should know what to look for and have a transparent conversation about the gecko's health with the seller. Now that you've gotten an idea of the crested gecko you want, let's discuss where to get it. You can decide whether to order your gecko online or purchase it in person. At Pangea, we sell geckos online and in person at reptile shows, and of course, we'd highly appreciate it if you consider purchasing your gecko from us. The incredible amount of available geckos online gives you a distinct advantage for options when choosing the perfect gecko for your taste. There is also the benefit of reviews being readily available for most sellers to help you make an informed decision. Keep in mind that purchasing geckos online typically involves shipping, and while it's safe to ship geckos online when done properly, it adds costs and mild risk to your purchase. Many breeders are happy to offer in-person pickups, which can mitigate those costs and risks. If you're interested in seeing what the shipping process involves, check out our video or blog on how to ship your reptiles. There is something to be said about the satisfaction of seeing a gecko in person and immediately having it in hand upon purchase. If that's what you prefer, you're going to want to look at either local pet stores or reptile expos. Local pet stores likely won't have the specialized traits or morphs, but are among the most convenient and affordable options. Reptile expos, on the other hand, are more likely to have multiple breeders with popular traits and unique expressions, offering you more selectivity. However, this selection will be limited to what breeders are vending and the expo schedule. Now that you've narrowed down whether you'd like to purchase online or in person, get ready to vet your seller. You'll want to make sure you're purchasing from a reputable seller whose geckos are healthy and that you'll know you'll have a good experience with. For breeders, your best bet is to start with reviews. You can often find helpful reviews and testimonials on breeders' websites, Google, Facebook, and Morph Market. Look for reviews mentioning good gecko health, accuracy in their listings, and the seller communicated well. When purchasing online, clear communication is important so you can coordinate shipping. Reviews are a good place to start for pet stores too, and you can also get a feel for how well they care for their geckos by inspecting the condition of their animals and the quality of their display enclosures. For example, some pet stores can have a reputation for providing poor husbandry, which you can examine in person and decide if that's where you want to get your gecko from. We also recommend going in with questions for the seller. Here are some questions your seller should be able to answer. What is the age of your gecko? What is your gecko eating? What are the gecko's traits? And are there any health concerns or behavior notes? If everything looks good and the seller seems reputable, you should be good to go with purchasing your gecko. So let's talk about what comes afterwards. Before your gecko gets to your home, you'll want to have an enclosure ready for it, or at least all of the supplies to assemble it in the same day. It's great to have their permanent enclosure built already, but we recommend using a quarantine enclosure for the first month of having your gecko. This will allow you to monitor your gecko's health for the first few weeks and will let you keep it separate from any other reptiles you have in case it has any contagious diseases or parasites. We recommend assembling one of these enclosures by taking an appropriately sized plastic tote and adding ventilation. This enclosure can double as a travel enclosure or as vacation housing. Use paper towel as the substrate to check for poop and provide the same clean decor and hiding places you would normally offer. Your new gecko can live in this enclosure for a few weeks to ensure it's healthy. During this time, you can put the finishing touches on their enclosure and let any plants establish if you've gone bioactive. Whether you purchase your gecko online or in person, it's going to be pretty stressed out by this move. Give it time to settle for the first few weeks once it's arrived, and during this time, only handle your gecko for health checks or when strictly necessary. They may not eat for the first couple weeks while they settle, but keep offering fresh food so it's available when the gecko's ready. You'll know it's eating regularly when there are visible tongue marks in the food or when you see multiple poops. You may also notice a settling period when you move it from its quarantine enclosure to its permanent home, which you can treat the same. So now you know everything you need to know about the process of getting a new crested gecko and can start shopping for your new pet. Of course, we'd greatly appreciate it if you started on our site, PangeaReptile.com. We've got lots of great geckos for you to choose from and all the supplies you need to get started. New keepers, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos in our Crested Gecko Care series. Experienced keepers, do you think we missed anything in our gecko buying process? Share your advice in the comments. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.